This is my very first deck reprofile, and I am darn proud of how my Dark Magician deck has evolved. If y'all missed my first profile of this deck, make sure you guys check out the Yu-Gi-Oh playlist in the description below. But if you're all caught up, then you're going to like the strategies and the changes and the evolution that this deck has come through. This deck has served me well. I have taken out a lot of top tier decks. I have held my own against many decks, and I have no complaints. This deck, I feel like to me is perfect. I may need to supplement a few cards for my side deck, which I will showcase in this video, but I may have to supplement that in this video. I was doing a match duel. However, the main deck I feel is solid. Yo! What's up, guys? PKSparkxx here. Welcome to my deck reprofile for the Dark Magicians 2017, using all the cards from Dark Illusion, from the legendary decks, everything I have at my disposal, and I think I have a comprehensive deck. If you enjoyed this deck profile, demolish the like button for me. I will show off in this video the main deck, the side deck, the extra deck, and I'll even show off a few combos I have for this deck that I haven't seen a lot of people really take advantage of. So I hope you guys enjoy my strategies and the profile. Now, I have sort of a new way I want to do this. However, unfortunately, I do not have a top-down view yet. I don't have the equipment and the setup necessary to make that possible. I'm still working on it. I spent like 45 minutes trying to figure it out. My living room is a mess right now, but I'll figure it out next time. Hopefully, I'll have something I can find, like a setup or whatever like that. So if you guys have any suggestions to a top-down view I can do that can also incorporate my webcam, let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm going to show off the monster cards in this deck, and I'm going to start off with the 3 that are necessary for any Dark Magician deck. You want 3 Dark Magicians. Real quick, there's a glare that I have over here on the left side of my screen that I can't really fix. Again, I tried stopping that glare, but it's still there. I apologize, but I hope to have that fixed sometime soon. I can get away from my window. But for now, 3 Dark Magicians is what you want to have without a doubt. If you're using a Dark Magician deck and you don't have 3 Dark Magicians in there, you're doing it wrong. Reevaluate your life. Maybe jump off a cliff. Okay, don't do that, because then you can't reevaluate your life. But legit, like, you need 3 Dark Magicians in your deck, along with 3 of the Magician of Dark Illusion. This card is great, and as a matter of fact, I'm finally going to be debuting my series Errata That tomorrow, so I will be talking about this card, about how it can be improved to make this deck even better. It's so good. But for now, Magician of Dark Illusion, you want to have 3 of them in this deck, because if you activate an effect while Magician of Dark Illusion is on the field and you have a Dark Magician in the graveyard, you can use that effect once to bring the Dark Magician back and then go out into a rank 7 play. Very nice. You also want to have, again, necessary for every Dark Magician deck, or Dark Magician Girl deck, which I'm still working on, by the way, Magician's Rod. This card is really nice. You just summon it, and you can search your deck for any spell or trap card that specifically has Dark Magician in the text. So you summon this thing, you can search out Dark Magical Circle, Eternal Soul, Magician of Dark, Magical Navigation, or Magician Navigation. I always forget the name of that thing, but one of the trap card. Dark Illusion, if you want to use that to pull Dark Magician to your hand. You have lots of options, so that card is necessary to start your plays for turn 1. If you don't have it, then you know you should have something to at least defend yourself. But yeah, the Magician's Rise is what you want to have necessary. And the last card you're going to be playing 3 of in this deck will be Chocolate Magician Girl. Nice draw power card. You can drop any spellcaster to pull 1 card. If you can pull Dark Magician, and drop that in your hand, you can have that to bring back to the field if your opponent does feel ballsy enough to attack your Chocolate Magician Girl. So it's always just a deterrent. And then with the Dark Magician in the graveyard, you can use Magician Navigation, you can use Eternal Soul, or anything like that to bring your Dark Magician back. Or you can even, always have Magician Navigation. So stuff like that you can use to really make use of Dark Magician in the graveyard, while also adding to the cards in your hand with the draw power of Chocolate Magician Girl. So really nice card defensively, and to get some draw power in your hand. It's really nice. Now, the rest of these cards, these 5 cards, are all cards that I added just to supplement the deck. I have messed around with these cards several times, and the first one I like having a lot, I've seen it in a few Dark Magician builds, is Summon the Monk. Summon the Monk, when you summon it, whether a flip summon or a normal summon, it gets switched to defense mode instantly. And then you can use Summon the Monk's effect. You can drop any spell card, which you have a plethora of in this deck. You can drop a spell card to summon 1 level 4 monster from your deck. So you can summon Chocolate Magician Girl, or you can summon Elemental Hero Prisma. Now, I like Elemental Hero Prisma because I've used his effect to where I would activate his effect with Magician of Dark Illusion on the field, drop Dark Magician into the graveyard, and then I would activate Magician of Dark Illusion's effect because I activated Prisma's effect to bring back the Dark Magician I just sent to the graveyard. So it's a quick way, a roundabout way, but a quick way to get the Dark Magician on the field if you don't have Magician's Rod, if you don't have Dark Illusion or Magical Navigation or even Dark Magician in your hand. It's a quick way to get him into the graveyard. So, I mean, I like it. It's one of my favorite plays. I also have Gaga Magician, which you can bring out with Sorcerer Dark. Summon the Monk. Same thing, you can just summon him normally and then declare his level between the levels of 1 and 8, and then you can make him level 7, or you can keep him as level 4 for some rank 4 plays with Summon the Monk as well. Or you can just summon him, make him a level 7, and then you can summon him. You can use him with the Dark Magician for a rank 7 play, or you can. Actually, I think that's it, rank 7 play or rank 4 play, but that's pretty much what he's there for, and he does the job well. With Magical Navigation, I like having this card, Knights and Sorcerer. This card is a tuner monster, a level 4 spellcaster dark tuner monster, that when special summoned, you can banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. So, you can summon him and then you have a tuner monster, and I do have some tuners in this deck or some synchro monsters in this deck that I will show off when I show off the extra deck. But Knights and Sorcerer is nice as a play if if you feel like your opponent's going to try and target something, use Dragon's Mirror to get 5-headed dragon out or something like that. Before they're able to do so, you can activate Magical Navigation, summon Sorcerer Dark Magic, and then use Sorcerer. I'm sorry, not Sorcerer Dark Magic. Knights and Sorcerer. You can use this effect to banish 2 cards. I think it's 2 cards or 2 monsters. 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. So really nice play. And the reason why I said Sorcerer Dark Magic is because my big play is Sorcerer Dark Magic. Now hear me out. You're probably like, what the hell is this scrub doing? Hear me out. Every Dark Magician build has one card that's kind of erratic, that's random. You either have Palladium Oracle Mahad, you either have Dark Magician of Chaos, but I didn't like Chaos because that requires a lot of cards. You can have Dedication to Light and Darkness, but I feel like it's a lot more dead draws than not. But Sorcerer Dark Magic, I mean, he's normally in my hand regardless, and yes, he doesn't follow the rules of, a 7-star monster, so I can't use him with Sacred Sword. Say a Sacred Sword of the 7 stars. I can't use him with that. But he is just a nice 3200 monster I can special summon by attributing 2 level 6 or higher monsters. So he goes well in a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl deck. And I summon him and then I can negate any trap card that's out there. So I've never had a problem where he was a bad draw. I've never had a situation where he was a dead draw. As far as I know, I've either had him in my hand or I didn't, and I've been able to set myself up, which has always been there, and if I'm able to get him out, I get him out, and then I can use cards like Eternal Soul to supplement the Dark Magician I just sacrificed and summon him back, or I can summon the Monk, drop a spell card, summon Gaga Magician, make him level 7 or 6 if I want to be that guy, tribute Dark Magician or Magical Magician Dark Illusion, and the Gaga Magician I just made level 7, tribute them both, summon Sorcerer Dark Magic. Now I can negate trap cards with a 3200 beat stick monster, which is the strongest card I have in this deck. So personally, I like having Sorcerer Dark Magic. He's definitely unique, but he has treated me well, and I don't think it's a bad addition. So in my deck, I'm running Sorcerer Dark Magic. Going into the spell cards, you have, once again, 3 cards that every Dark Magician deck needs, or Dark Magician Girl deck needs. Dark Magical Circle. Now, this card is the most expensive card in the deck. Why? Because it is arguably the best card in the deck. You activate it, you can look at the top 3 cards on your deck. You can put them back on top of your deck in any order. But if you have any cards that have Dark Magician in the text, or you have Dark Magician in there, you can add it to your hand. So imagine having Circle but not having Eternal Soul. You activate Circle, you look at your hand, you get Eternal Soul or Navigation. Bam! You are set up, you are good to go. Barring you have Dark Magician in your hand or you have Dark Illusion to pull Dark Magician to your hand later on, you are set up. Dark Magical Circle is really good. Not to mention, it's the card that allows you to banish 1 card on the field per turn, not destroying. You do have the target, but you just banish it. So you can get rid of a lot of cards quickly with just Dark Magical Circle alone. It even negates cards like Super Imperial Magnum and Super Conductive Battle Bot, which, speaking of which, I have to do a reprofile of my Magnet Warriors because I was told by you guys, the PK Planet, that I was cheating. I didn't realize it, but I was cheating with the electromagnets. So I had to rebuild that deck. So I'm going to do a reprofile of that deck sooner or later. Also, you can look forward to a deck profile of my Crystons as soon as I figure out how to explain all the combos you can do in that deck. But for now, that's what's happening. And another card I like having in this deck to pull Dark Magician from your deck or your graveyard to your hand is Illusion Magic. And not to mention the fact that it's a quick play spell card, so if you have Illusion of Dark Magic in your hand, you can save this card, and then on your opponent's turn, you activate it, tribute Magician's Rod, send it to the graveyard, bring Dark Magician from your deck to your hand, 1 or 2. You don't have to do 2, you can do 1 or 2. Bring it from your graveyard or deck to your hand, and then you can activate Magician Dark Illusion in your hand, special summon it to the field. And it's such a nice combo card. I like having 2 of them in the deck. I had 1 for a while, but I like having more options to pull Dark Magician into my hand. So Illusion has been my bane, and I like having 2 of them in my deck. Extra cards to supplement the Dark Magician. I have Dark Magic Attack. A lot of people don't know this, but with Eternal Soul, you can pull Thousand Knives or Dark Magic Attack from your deck to your hand with Eternal Soul. So if I feel like my opponent has a back row that is scary and I don't have a way to destroy it, I'll activate Eternal Soul. If I do have it on the field, pull Dark Magic Attack to my hand, then I will activate it instead of summoning a Dark Magician that turn. You can only use 1 effect of Eternal Soul per turn, so you can either summon a Dark Magician or pull Thousand Knives or Dark Magic Attack to your hand. You can only do 1 of them, but still, you can make it to where you can either clear back row or summon your monsters so you have a defense. Really nice option for you to have, and I just like it. One of them has been perfect. One of them has been perfect. Worst case scenario, I drop it for Summoner Monk, you know? Along with, this card is actually a lot more open than anything because I have a lot of dark monsters in this deck. The only monsters I can't summon in here are like Elemental Prisma and Chakra Magician Girl. But I have Dark Magical Veil. I have 1 of them. You pay 1,000 life points and then you're allowed to special summon 1 Dark Spellcaster type monster from your hand or graveyard. So it's the monster reborn for this deck. Really nice if you have Gaga Magician in the graveyard. You can bring that back in for a rank 7 play or to summon tribute for Sorcerer Dark Magic as I had earlier. I like having 1. You can definitely argue having 2 on the deck, but again, I feel like I was having dead draws, so I just have 1, but still, I like Dark Magical Veil, as it has been helpful. So going into the supplemental cards, this is the part where I said my deck has been getting buffed up. I could add 2, but I just don't like having 2. I like having another quick play spell, which I'll get into. You guys are going to get mad at me for it, but I just like it, so get mad at my preference. But I do have Twin Twisters. We have gotten upgraded from Mystical Space Typhoon. I have more than a playset worthy of Twin Twisters now, and I added 1 to my deck. It allows you to discard 1 card, so it can be Dark Magician, and you destroy 2 spell or trap cards on the field, so it allows you to destroy a nice and hefty back row that may be sitting there. It could be Solemn Strike, could be Solemn Warnings, could be Bomber Trap or anything like that. Anything that can negate you from doing what you want to do. Twin Twisters just helps you out right then and there. This is the card that I don't like. I like having over 2 Twin Twisters. Again, get mad. Hand Destruction. I like the card. It's a quick play spell card. You discard 2 cards, you draw 2 cards. A lot of people are so caught up in the fact that it's a -1, and I understand and respect that. But I can drop 2 cards in my hand that I don't feel like I need, and I can pull 2 cards to my hand. I could possibly get Magician's Rod if I don't have it right now, you know? Because there's 2 cards I don't need in my hand. I can drop them and, you know, pull Magician's Rod or anything I need. I can pull Eternal Soul, I can pull Magician Navigation, I can pull Dark Magical Circle or stuff like that. It's really just nice. I like having Hand Destruction. Not to mention I can drop 2 cards from my opponent's deck. Now, it could be against me depending on the deck I'm facing, but that's why Hand Destruction is a card that I can side if necessary. But for the main deck, I like having Hand Destruction. Another card you gotta have is Raigeki. I do have an original Magic card version from LON, I think it is, or LOB. LOB, love that card. Raigeki has treated me well. I'm not trading it. It is my bait. It's my one and only, and I am holding on to it as long as I can. That is going in my main deck without a doubt. So going into the draw power here, I have 2 Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars. The card allows you to banish 1 level 7 monster from your hand to draw 2 cards. So that's a nice way. And then I do have Escape from the Dark Magician in this deck, although I'll explain how many I have and why when I start going over the trap cards. But for now, I do have 2 Sacred Sword and 7 Stars, so I can banish one of either my Dark Magician as a last resort. I'd rather not, but I can banish him or Magician of Dark Illusion to draw 2 cards from my deck. And I also have Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality works well in this deck because very rarely do you ever special summon in the same turn that you set up. You normally do that during your opponent's turn because you're setting trap cards. You're, just want to wait to get a reaction so you can activate Dark Magical Circle when you special summon Dark Magician, stuff like that. So very rarely are you actually setting up on your turn. So Power Duality, you could possibly, if you want to, you could possibly run 3 of them in your deck and be absolutely fine. I think that this deck is one of the rare decks that absolutely benefits from duality. Like, they're not worried about the point that you can't special summon afterwards. Not like my Crystallons, who can be hindered by that fact. So those are the spell cards. Power Duality, yeah, all of them. It's great. Those are the spell cards that I use. It's funny how my trap cards have evolved, because I had like the bare minimum at first. I just had Magician Navigation and Eternal Soul, and it has evolved. I now have 9 trap cards in this deck. Some of them are necessary, but most of them are just supplemental to make sure that I can hold my opponent back. And again, the upgrades are real. We're starting off with 2 Magician Navigation. I like Magician Navigation more than Eternal Soul, because Eternal Soul's drawback, which is very hefty, is that if it's destroyed, all your monsters on the field are destroyed as well, and it's really frustrating. So I like having Magician Navigation so I can summon not only Dark Magician from my hand, but a Dark Spellcaster monster from my deck. So when I do that, I can summon Sorcerer Dark Magic. I'm sorry, Sorcerer. I can summon Knights and Sorcerer, banish the cards from my opponent's graveyard, and then use my Dark Magician and Knights and Sorcerer to go out into my level 9 synchro play, Vermilion Mech Dragon. I believe that's the name. I'll go over my extra deck in due time. I also, not to mention, real quick, Magician Navigation also lets you negate a spell or trap card on the field if you have a Dark Magician on the field as well. So if they try to activate Raigeki while you have all the cards on the field, you can use Magician Navigation to negate the effect. Twin Twisters negate the effect with Magician Navigation. It's so nice, such a good utility card as well. Also, this is the part where people are going to get confused at, but I only run 2 Eternal Souls. The reason being, for the reason why I just said, I feel like it's more of a liability than an asset. Don't get me wrong, it's really good to be able to just recycle your Dark Magicians, but if that gets destroyed, you're shut down. So there have been many times where I've set both Eternal Soul and Magician Navigation, and I would activate Magician Navigation. Yeah, they would destroy 2 cards, and one of the cards would get destroyed, but I'm still able to summon my Dark Magician as I want. So it's just really nice, really good to have Eternal Soul at 2. If anything, I would recommend running 3 Navigations over 3 Eternal Souls. Eternal Soul is definitely a really good card. It protects your Dark Magicians from all effects, no matter what. So if you activate Darkhold, your Dark Magicians are living, including Magician of Dark Illusion, who counts as a Dark Magician while he's on the field. So remember that. Also, by the way, I always mention, guys, rather that, but anyway, I didn't mention that, the fact that it protects all your Dark Magicians from card effects as well, and you can just recycle them. You can special summon Dark Magician once per turn, or you can pull Thousand Eyes or Dark Magic Attack from your deck to your hand once per turn. You can only do one of those effects, but still, it's really nice. But the thing is, when that card is destroyed, all your monsters are wiped. Now, to supplement that, to combat that, and to combat the plethora of Twin Twisters you will be seeing as being a Dark Magician user, I have Starlight Road in this deck. Whenever your opponent activates a card effect that will destroy 2 or more cards you control, not your opponent. Whenever an effect is activated that would destroy 2 or more cards you control, you can activate Starlight Road to negate that. And then after that, you can summon Stardust Dragon from your extra deck if you do have one in your extra deck. So that card has been really useful. If they do target Eternal Soul and they destroy it, hoping to just wipe my whole field, I'll negate the field wiping effect with Stardust Dragon, and then I get Stardust Dragon on the field instead, so I can protect my Dark Magicians again if they try to use Darkhold or then Raigeki or whatever like that, or maybe they try to destroy my back row again. Anything like that, I can just protect them. So that's a really nice combo card. Shout out to my boy Icky for suggesting that. Another card I like having is one. I used to have 2, but I have 1 now. Escape from the Dark Dimension. That card, I can use it to bring back my banished monster if it is banished. Such as from Secret Sword and 7 Stars, I can bring it back with that. Or if my opponent gets a little handsy and like they're using Dark Law and they banish my Dark Magician, I can bring it back with Escape from the Dark Dimension. So I have options like that. So I do like having Escape from the Dark Dimension because banishing kind of hurts this deck, but having that as an emergency button, it's been helpful. Has been helpful. Now here's the buff. Guys. First, I'm going to start off with Solemn Warning. I had that in my deck before. Negates a summon or an effect that would summon. when a spell, trap card, or effect monster is activated that includes summoning a monster. There you go. So anytime a monster would be summoned or an effect is activated that includes special summoning, you can pay 2,000 and negate it. And the buff, we have 2 Solemn Strikes. I could run 3 because I think I have 3 actually. I think I might be wrong here. But I do have 2 on this deck right now, and the Solemn Strikes, they are there. They are Love, Life, and the American Duelist Way in America. And Solemn Strike, it's a really good card. It negates a monster effect or negates the summon of an effect. Is that what it is? If a monster would be summoned or if an effect is activated, you can pay 1,500 life points, negate the effect, and destroy that card. So Solemn Strike is helpful. It negates monster effects. It stops special summons. Necessary in every deck, and I'm glad to say that I have it in my main deck. Now this right here is my extra deck. It is a full 15 card deck, but very rarely do I even use all of the cards in here, or most of them. I'll probably use like 2 of them, if most, but they are all necessary depending on the matchup that you will be facing. So starting off, leading off the pack, I do have 2 Dark Paladins. I have those for Prisma, and I also have them in case I need it, in case I'm going up against a Blue Eyes deck. I can side deck my Ayatamias and bring out my Dark Paladin. Also, I have Amulet Dragon. Oh god! Also, I have Amulet Dragon, who is he's a really good monster. If he's destroyed, you can summon 1 Dark Spellcaster monster. I think it's Dark Spellcaster monster. Yeah, no, not even Dark, just 1 Spellcaster type in your graveyard, and you can summon it. And when he is summoned, you can banish all spell cards from both players' graveyards, and he gains 100 attack for each spell card banished. So in my deck, I have a potential to give him 17 plus attack. I mean, it's not going to happen because that's very rare, but I mean, I have the potential to give him 1,700 just from my deck alone. And depending on who I'm facing, say you're facing a Blue Eyes deck, or a Dragon deck, I'll say, and you have Return to Dragon Lords in his deck, you can summon Amulet Dragon, get rid of the Return to Dragon Lords, give yourself a nice boost in attack, and if he is destroyed, you summon a Spellcaster set monster from your graveyard in Amulet Dragon's place. So it's a really nice card to have. Really just summon him with Tamias, or you can, normal summon him, but no one's going to normal summon. Just use Tamias. Just use Tamias, alright? Just use the Ayatamias. But Amulet Dragon is there. Now, for our rank 7 plays, we have plenty of them, but we have a lot of good ones. We have Ebon Illusion Magician. This is the card you're going to be using more than not. Now, here's a lot of effects, and they're really good. Ebon Illusion Magician, you can detach one XYZ material monster to summon 1 normal spellcaster monster from your deck to the field. Now, the fact that they make it normal, they specify it so much, does hinder it, but still, you can get around it. You just can't do it as much as you may like. Ebon Illusion Magician also has the effect of when a normal spellcaster monster declares an attack, you are allowed to target 1 card on your opponent's side of the field and banish it. So when you declare an attack, say you're attacking 5-headed dragon and you can't destroy it because you're freaking weak, you're half the strength of it, but with Ebon Illusion Magician on the field, you can just get rid of it, and then Dark Magician's attack can go through directly to their life points if that's the only monster on the field, or you can redirect the attack to any monster that may be on the field if they do have something on the field. So Ebon Illusion Magician is really nice, and I hope I'm not missing a secondary effect by him. Okay, so the other effect I'm forgetting is that you can also use a rank 6 spellcaster monster as the exit material to summon Ebon Illusion Magician. So it's even better in a Dark Magician Girl deck. It is even better. You can just have Naruto on the field, do the effect and negate something, and then you can summon Ebon Illusion Magician quickly. So you have 2 ways to bring him out in a Dark Magician Girl deck. I can't wait to build my Dark Magician Girl deck. It is coming. I promise you, it is coming. But for now, Ebon Illusion Magician is a really nice rank 7 play that you can use. And if you ever in a sticky situation, you have Ebon High Magician. Now he has 2 effects, but actually he has 3 effects that are all really good. But at the same time, the timing is all like reactive to everything. Actually, hold up. The first effect is when this card has an XYZ material, you can activate a quick play spell card or a trap card from your hand during your opponent's turn by detaching an XYZ material from this card at activation. If the XYZ summon monster, if this XYZ summon card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this XYZ summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Dark Spellcaster type monster from your hand or deck, and then destroy 1 card on the field. So you see, I was really defensive. Like, you put him on the field with 2,800 defense. Again, why can't he just be 3,000 defense? Why can't we have anything that can rival the offensive strength of a Blue Eyes? But I mean, whatever. But anyway, you can destroy 1 card in the field when he's destroyed, and then you can replace it with any, I think, a Dark Spellcaster. Yeah, one Dark Spellcaster type monster. So again, he's really good in a Dark Magician Girl deck or a Dark Magician deck. But again, he's really defensive. So unless you find yourself in a really bad situation and you can't summon another normal Spellcaster type monster from your deck or whatever with Ebon Leader Magician, you might opt for Ebon High Magician. Another card you're going to be using in case your opponent is getting really handsy with effects is Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Now you'll summon him by using two levels. I don't understand why this extra deck is just being so finicky. This extra deck is just showing off right now. But anyway, Rare Flare Metal Dragon. Whenever an effect is activated, immediately when it resolves, your opponent loses 500 life points immediately. That's the main point of why you want Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. I mean, he is also 2800 attack, so you can get that extra boost if you do need it. But really you want him for the burn effect. So I only have one of them in this deck, and if you're facing the deck that has a lot of effects going on, such as the Lunar Lights, where they're constantly activating effects, getting Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon on the field will hurt them more than it will help them in the end. Like, you can burn a whole bunch of life points from them. The last rank 7 play we do have is number 11, Big Eye. A lot of people have this in the deck. You detach one explosive material from this card, and you can take control of one monster your opponent controls, but during the turn you activate the effect, Big Eye cannot attack. But again, if you're facing something that you cannot overcome, just take it. Just usurp it. Just say, it's mine now. It's mine now. But you're going to just stare at him. Give him that big eye. It's mine now. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Negate it? They're actually going to use reverse brainwashing or whatever that card is that returns ownership. No, they ain't going to do that. It's going to let you take their monster and be like, well, drat. I mean, unless you're facing a Crystron monster and you target a Crystron, unless you're facing a Crystron deck and you target a Crystron monster like Crystron Phoenix, and then they use Crystron Impact to negate the effect, and you're just like, oh, drat. And then they destroy you next turn. But that's a story for another time. Literally, Big Eye can be a really nice saver if you do need it. So I have one of them in this deck, and the one time I have had to summon him, he helped me cinch that game that would have been otherwise out of my reach. So there you go. So now we're going into my 2 rank 4 plays, and one of them, of course, is that Gusto Emerald. Now, it's very rare that I summon them, because I do have level 4 monsters that I can't summon, but the Gusto Emerald is a monster that I rarely do summon. But if I have a lot of monsters in my graveyard, or I have Dark Magician in my graveyard, I can use that Gusto Emerald to either shuffle them back into my deck and draw one card, or summon the Dark Magician. That Gusto Emerald is really good for this deck. I can use Summon the Monk, summon any level 4 monster I have in my deck. I can use Chop Magician Girl, God Magician, Elemental Hero Prisma, or I think that's it. I actually think that's it. But I can summon one of them, rank 4 overlay into that Gusto Emerald. Then I can use one of his 2 effects. If I have a Dark Magician in the graveyard, I can bring him back immediately. Or I can use the first effect and target 3 monsters in my graveyard, shuffle them back into my deck, and draw 1 card. Both while detaching 1 XYZ material from this card. So the Gusto Emerald, he helps. He really does help. There's been times where I summon him and it changes the whole entire game because I don't have any other options. I do love the amount of ways I have to summon Dark Magician with this deck now. That's another thing that's a huge plus for this deck, is the amount of options I have to summon Dark Magician. Now this is something that I rarely summon, but the few times I have gotten out, boy oh boy was it fun. I have Bahamut Shark. Now I can only summon him by using 2 Chocolate Magician Girls and overlaying it to just 2600 Beat Stick. But his effect allows you to detach 1 XYZ material from his card to summon 1 level 3, or sorry, rank 3 or lower water type? Yeah, water XYZ material monster from my extra deck to the field. And do you know what I have? Y'all already know the combo. Totally Awesome is in this deck as a situation in case I can do it, so I can either define my victory or I just want to hold my opponent back a little bit more. Again, it's very rare that I'm able to do this because summoning 2 Chocolate Magician Girls is pretty difficult, even with Summoning Monk on the field, because Summoning Monk is a dark type and not a spellcaster type. I'm sorry, it's a dark type and not a water type. That I guess I say water attribute, because he's dark attribute and not water attribute, he's hard to get out. But if I am fortunate enough to get Totally Awesome out, man, oh man, is it fun. Man, it's just like, what, you have that in this deck? Yeah, I have that in this deck. Get mad. So going into the synchro plays, we have 4 of them, and again, very rare that I'm able to get any of them out, but they're nice. So we have this card, Samsara, the Dragon of Rebirth. Basically, is a 2600 defensive monster. And when he's destroyed, I can target 1 card in either player's graveyard and special summon. I think it's either player's graveyard. When this card If this card is destroyed by battle to the graveyard or sent to the graveyard by the opponent's card effect, I can target one monster in either player's graveyard except Sorcerer, Dragon of Rebirth, and special summon it. I can only use the effect of Sorcerer once per turn, but still I only have one of them in this deck. And it's something, again, where I very rarely got it out. But actually, I don't think I've ever summoned Sorcerer yet, but it still is an option I have. Because, I mean, in order to summon it, the only way I could do it is by having Knights in Sorcerer and Magician's Rod on the field. That's my only way of getting it. So it's very rare that you'll ever summon this, but it's an option. Another option I have is by any of my rank 4s and Knights in Sorcerer. My level 4s and Knights in Sorcerer. Don't you fall! Stop that. Stop that. There we go. Yugioh Guardian, 2600 attack point monster. When you destroy a monster by battle, you can bring it over to your side of the field, I think in defense mode, and face up defense position, yep. But still, you can just usurp monsters, you can build your own defense. So if I summon, if I get Knights in Sorcerer out with Magician Navigation, I summon a level 4 monster, I could just sink into Yugioh Guardian and have a 2800 monster on the field. And I mean, it's nice. It's nice. Why not have Yugioh Guardian? Splashable Wrath, and they brought it back, they unbanned it. So shoot, I'm gonna use it in my deck. Another card I have, I mentioned it earlier, but for Stardust Road, I have Stardust Dragon. It's the only way I'm summoning this card because I don't have any other level 5 monsters. Level 6 monsters I can use to summon Stardust Dragon. So if I use Stardust Road, I'll summon Stardust Dragon, and I can use his effect to negate something. You can't bring him back, unfortunately, because of Stardust Dragon, he wasn't properly summoned. But still, you can negate destruction effects twice. That's pretty nice. So I do have Stardust Dragon. And my last card, I mentioned it earlier, but Vermilion Mech Dragon. Now, the way that he works is he's a level 7 machine monster. I also use this card in my Crystron deck, which, again, deck profile will be coming soon. I freaking love that deck. But, he's a level 9 level 9 synchro monster, and when he is summoned, once a turn, you can banish one tuner monster in your graveyard to destroy one card in the field. So, similar to how people use Diamond Dire Wolf, if you're in a sticky situation, you can use Magician Navigation, summon Dark Magician, summon Knights in Sorcerer, sink into Vermilion Mech Dragon, banish the Knights in Sorcerer that you just used to summon, and you can destroy one card in the field that is being problematic. And then, if he is destroyed by a card effect, you can target one banished tuner monster, and bring it back to your hand. You can add it back to your hand. So I mean, you can recycle potentially 2700 attack points, but the main lure to this card is the fact that you can destroy something that is being problematic. So I mean, I like it. I've had times where I've actually summoned Vermilion Dragon Mech, and he is useful. So I like him. He's really unique. Really, it's just a splashable card, not splashable card, but situational card. But pop, lock, and drop it. I don't know why I said that. This is a long deck profile, and I am content in sitting and accepting the fact that my deck profiles are just going to be very, 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 very long. So with that said, I have my side deck, something I did not have in my original deck profile. I have a side deck for you guys, something I'll use in tournaments and for different situations, and I will explain why. The first two cards I have are Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. If your opponent is getting a little handsy with their graveyard and you feel like they're getting a little out of hand with it and you have an opening to deal some damage, use Magician Navigation and summon Kaiku instead of Knights in Sorcerer. And when you do damage, you can banish 2 cards from their graveyard. So similar to Knights in Sorcerer, but a lot more offensive. If you feel like their graveyard is getting a little wild, get rid of it with Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. And not to mention, when this card is on the field, your opponent cannot remove any cards in either graveyard from play. Now, and then I think about it, I don't know if it stops Dark Law, because I think that any card in the graveyard that goes to the graveyard will be sent from play instead, so it never actually touches the graveyard. So it wouldn't work on Dark Law. But still, for certain matchups, whichever one you do have Secret Village of the Spellcasters. If you feel like you're fixing the deck, there's a lot of spells. You can shut them down by using Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So anything that's really handsy with spellcast, like I know a lot of Blue Eyes deck or Dragon decks likes their spells, you can just shut them down with Secret Village of the Spellcasters. And so long as you have a spellcaster on the field, they cannot activate any spell cards as long as they don't have a spellcaster on the field as well. So situational, that's why I took it out, but it still does work well. And to supplement those cards, if you really need them in your hand, you can add 2 terraformings as well, just so you can search out your field spell cards. It goes well for any deck that relies on spell cards, field spell cards. If you have field spells, put terraforming in your deck, so it allows you to have a thinner deck. You're essentially playing with a 38 card deck if you're using terraforming, and you can just search out your field spell cards and play them immediately. So it's a lot faster. Like I mentioned earlier, depending on the matchup, I do have 2 Eye of Timaeuses. I can bring them to my hand with Magician's Rod as well because they have Dark Magician in the text. I can also add it to my hand if I pull it with Dark Magical Circle. So the Eye of Timaeus is great. You can get out Amulet Dragon, you can get out Dark Paladins, you can negate spells as well, or you can get rid of all the spell cards that are in somebody's graveyard. They just don't want anybody else using spells. So Eye of Timaeus is great. In case you are dealing with a deck that has a lot of spell cards, I am siding an extra Twin Twisters. In case I need it over Hand Destruction, I will add Twin Twisters. In case you're facing a Dark Law deck and a lot of your cards get banished, you can use 2 Barrier from a Different Dimension. You target 3 banished monsters and return them to the graveyard. You can also use this card against an ABC deck where if they try to tag out for the banished materials, instead of banishing them, instead of being able to do that, you can use Barrier from a Different Dimension and just send 1 back. You can send 1 back and 2 of your own monsters, and because your opponent cannot target A, B, and C, the materials for ABC Dragon Buster or Buster Cannon, whatever it's called, because they can't use it, because they can't target all 3, they cannot summon any of them. And then you can bring back 2 of your own monsters back as well. So ABC, Dark Law, you can bring back cards that are banished if they are banished that you don't want to be banished. Very nice, and you can use them later on, so I like having Barrier from a Different Dimension. Depending on the deck you're facing, such as if you're facing a lot of Pendulums, or if you're facing a lot of facing a Paleozoic Toad deck, you have Summon Limit. Actually, it really wouldn't help against Pendulum because Pendulum summoning is all 1 sweep, and that counts as 1 summon. It's stupid. But Summon Limit, I like having. It's my own personal choice. They can only summon, each player can only summon up to 2 times per turn. So if they use the effect to summon 1 Paleozoic thing from the graveyard, 1 Paleozoic trap card from the graveyard, and they overlay into, or they have to summon another one, that's all they can do because they summon twice. They're 2 individual summons. So it really does slow down a Paleozoic Toad deck. And then you also have, this is universal, if you feel like you're facing a lot of effects that are just holding you down, Breakthrough Skill can negate an effect for 1 turn, for 1 turn, but then while it's in the graveyard, you can use it again, negate the effect, and then get rid of any problem that may be on the field. So there you go, that's my side deck, and that's actually the entirety of my Dark Magician deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, including the side deck. If you guys have any suggestions about how you would build it, anything that you use that you find useful, let me know in the comments. I definitely look forward to seeing all of your thoughts on my deck build. I'm not perfect. This is only the deck that I use, and it works for me. So, you know, if you think that any card doesn't belong, remember, I built my deck for me, not for everybody else. I'm just sharing it so y'all can see the thoughts of somebody else who is using the same deck as you. If you guys enjoyed this deck V-Profile, demolish the like button for me. I didn't mention it at the beginning. I hope I mentioned it at the beginning, but demolish the like button for me. Subscribe. Yu-Gi-Oh! Content goes live every single Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow, I will be finally debuting Errata That, where I'm going to be talking about the deck, the Dark Magician deck, and erratating five cards myself of the deck that can make this deck even better. Is it going to make some decks broken? Yes, but that's the point of the series. Make it to where it could be possible, but it would make it really overpowered. But that's the point, is to make the deck better. It's going to be a fun little series. I think you guys will enjoy. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay hot, guys, and I'll see y'all next time.